but I said, if I wanted to do an episode about gay and lesbian issues and have all gay and lesbians on the panel, you wouldn't be saying the same thing about why do you want to preach your beliefs to people? And he was saying, yeah, but that's not a choice. And it kind of struck me, and I thought, well, it's not my choice to not believe in God. Trust me, I was raised Mormon in a very fundamental household. I damn sure wanted to believe in God. I wanted to please my parents. I worked really hard at trying to develop this belief system. I got baptized. I did all of the things that I was supposed to do. And in spite of that, I couldn't believe.
For me, atheism was not a choice. I'm a skeptic. And my atheism is a direct result of my skepticism. I can't choose to believe something that I have no reason to believe in. I could only choose to pretend to believe it.
And I wanted to throw out a couple things that I missed there that are relevant to you. First off, there's a flaw in the Christian position that they say you have to choose to believe in Jesus. And that flaw is we don't choose what we believe. Our beliefs are the product of whatever facts are rattling around our skulls, and there's nothing we can do to change it.
I've often met people who say that they don't care what the facts are. They're going to believe what they want to believe. And if I try to tell them what the facts are, then they get angry, saying, why can't I believe what I want to believe? As if it was a matter of choice. And they tell me that I have that choice too, but I don't. Whatever I believe is a condition determined by my knowledge of the facts and will obligately change along with my understanding of the information. I have no choice in the matter, and if I did, I wouldn't believe as I do.
What is the basic premise of Christianity? That you have to choose to believe in Jesus. How many of you have been admonished to choose to believe that Jesus rose from the dead? Can't do it. Can't do it. You don't choose your beliefs. Your beliefs are a function of whatever information is rattling around inside your skull, and you are powerless to do anything else. And if you don't believe me, try walking up to the roof of this building and walking up to the edge and trying to convince yourself by force of will that gravity doesn't work. There's not a single person in this room who can do that because your mind is already made up for you.
Because free will does not grant us the power to choose what we are and are not convinced is true, only the power to choose our actions based on that information. Let's try an experiment. If I asked you to become convinced at this very moment, to genuinely begin believing that Santa Claus exists and visits every home in the world on Christmas Eve with a sled led by 8 flying reindeer, could you do it? No, of course not. Does this mean you have no free will? No, of course not. But you can't freely decide whether or not to be convinced that this proposition is true. That's not what the concept of free will is all about. I mean, if you're watching this video right now, I've already forced you to know certain things, to believe certain things. You now believe that at some point I sat down and recorded myself speaking this very sentence. You have no freedom to choose whether or not you are convinced that I spoke this sentence. If you believe I did speak the words I'm speaking, you may have the freedom to pretend that you don't or to behave as if you don't, but you don't have the power to decide to become genuinely convinced that I didn't speak these words. And the fact that you have no such power does not negate the freedom of choice we're talking about, which pertains to our actions, the things we do in response to the propositions we believe.
But belief is not a choice. It's a compulsion beyond the realm of choice, achieved through convincing arguments, evidence, and trust. I do not choose what I believe because I perceive it as the more attractive option. I'm compelled to believe what I think is true, whether I like it or not.